Hello, hello, welcome in everybody. We're here for more College League of Legends. We just had one great series, and now we're going into another. My name is Mad Magical, and I'm joined in by Alk Battery. And Alk, we should have at least an exciting one today because we have Ole Miss taking on Oklahoma Christian University. And Ole Miss is one of these teams that everyone has been really hyped about and has seen so much about. They did have a chance to try to promote up into the NACL to become the second collegiate program to do so. They did fall just short, but doesn't mean that they can't try to win CLOL now.
For sure. I mean, again, it's that one final test. That's our tagline for the show. So I think it's only right for them, especially as a program who is vying for the championship. They're one of the teams that are in conversation to potentially win the entire tournament.
Them and Maryville definitely in the conversation for that. But then we have the other side, Oklahoma Christian University. We don't want to forget about them. This is a new org, well, at least a new program for this college. And having built up this team, they are really trying to then get as far as they can, really show off how the skills of these players can go. And if we get to take a look at the bracket, you can see the fact that they got here in the first place is still going to be a good sign for them, right? Getting up to the top 16 is nothing to slouch about. They've been playing decent. They've been getting better little by little. It just kind of sucks that they have to go up against Ole Miss now.
Yeah, again, this is another situation where you unfortunately got diffed by the bracket. They made it in. I think, obviously, as a vote-in team was a little bit suspect as to whether or not they were going to be able to perform. But having Bethany in their first round, that was a knockout, dragged-out fight. It was very messy, very sloppy. They got down in the mud with their opponent. They ended up winning the match, obviously, to meet us here with Ole Miss. And Ole Miss, they are on the warpath. They do not want to fall in round of 16. Last year was up against Northwood. I mean, Oklahoma Christian didn't even have a program that was viable last year. They didn't have a full legal roster to be able to run in the South Conference. So going to be really interesting to see how Ole Miss are able to handle them. And let's take a look at the rest of our schedule for today, just as we are at the end of our broadcast, right? We had the UST PNW game, which was a lot of fun. We talked about it yesterday. I said this was going to be a close one. We got 3-1, which I'm happy about.
Yeah, and I'm a little sad I didn't get to cast that one. TC Porsche and Prank, they actually were a part of Super League, something I casted a long time ago, and they had a lot of history against one another. So the fact that they met up already in CLOL, I'm happy for both of them. I really am glad to see them both succeeding in Collegiate League of Legends. But, you know, only one team could win, right? That's just how it goes. You're not in the double elimination now. You get that in the top 8. That's going to be, if you win this series, you'll have that double elimination. And as you were talking about, we had our series today. This is going to be the end. We're getting the last little stragglers of our round of 16 done today. We have Winthrop University versus GVU happening over in the Winthrop stream. We have later today will be the SLU versus UCSD game. But now it'll Ole Miss versus Oklahoma Christian University. They are facing off against each other, and honestly, it's kind of like what we had yesterday, right? With Maryville and UCI. David versus Goliath storyline.
Kind of.
It's you got this beast in Ole Miss. They are definitely on the warpath, as you said. And honestly, them even dropping games this early on is more the surprise than dropping the whole series in total.
They're a team that has really kind of started to hone in on their strategy. Before we actually get to that, I did want to, plug the GoFundMe. We do want to say, if you want to be able to donate, if you think that this is a project that you're very, very interested in, make sure that you're donating. You can see the link down below, and I'm sure there's probably a hyperlink ready to go in the stream chat. But this will be going on for the rest of the month, so at any time, if you feel like you're able to donate, any amount really helps. And if you're not able to donate anything monetarily, showing support, retweeting any of the things over on Salty Runback Pod or Running the Rift really, really kind of helps put the show forward in front of a bunch of eyes.
And even just being here, right? Even being here in the stream in the first place still is a big help for us, gets more eyes on it in general, and we want more eyes on this series we have for today. As we said, we've been alluding to it. It's Ole Miss taking on Oklahoma Christian University. We got the Land Sharks versus the Eagles here, and we'll see. I was going to make a joke. I was saying how if it's a shark, it's going to be sharks turning the Eagles into seagulls. But if it's a land shark, they might already prey on eagles to begin with.
Yeah, potentially that would have worked. Unfortunately, he's a land shark. His name is Tony. I found out. I had to do a little bit of digging there, but
we got the wrong roster here.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's our USC roster, but I could just go off of this immediately. For Ole Miss, you've got Stray in the top lane, Icelandic Hero. We've got Uncle Sam in the mid lane, Shogo, and Rhino. A team that has been really, really good. We do have returning members from last year's roster with the mid lane and support combo, or mid jungle as well as their support. However, the new pieces coming in, I think the big ones, Stray and obviously Shogo, man of the hour, the man that is on the potential path to be getting his 3rd collegiate championship. You know, also away from UST where he really built his name here in North American Collegiate.
Yeah, the fact that you have this player that was on UST that won both last year and the year before that, now on the warpath here with Ole Miss, a new program that he's a part of, but still looking so good. This player, there's a reason why everyone has been touting him as that upcoming ADC. Everyone's just like, Shogo is Shogo. He is so good on how he plays this. Rhino, I think, has been perfect to kind of build around him. Same with Uncle Sam and Icelandic. They can play towards that bot lane really well. Stray, known to play those bruisers, but can play carry if need be, or can play, again, towards Shogo. There's all these things that Ole Miss do very well to try to build up this ADC player. And when we look at OC Esports on the other side, it is hard to try to tackle that. Hard to really attack that bot lane, especially just because how good Shogo has been. But I do have some faith in them. Gorilla Jones in the top lane has been someone I've actually been really fascinated with watching. Busting out the Kled, busting out the Darius occasionally. Someone who plays a little wacky. Some of those cool counter picks that maybe can catch them off guard. Trinket, having another Nordic jungler here up against Icelandic will be fun to see. Amps in the mid lane. Someone that you were kind of saying that could either be a feast or a famine, really, in this mid lane. And maybe sometimes that works out when you're playing up against a team like Ole Miss, and then Ajosu and Paralysis rounding out the competition in bot lane.
I love this bot lane. I think that Ajosu and Paralysis, while individually and as a duo, I don't think have necessarily the greatest cohesion. I think individually we have seen some really cool things from either of these guys in multiple of their series, whether that be in the regular season, in their conference, or here in CLOL already. So really looking at Ajosu and Gorilla Jones to be able to put down good carry performances if we're going to see OC win any games, because I think the strong expectation should be Ole Miss sweep the series. They take it very confidently moving into round of 8.
Well, that's what I was even saying. Even them dropping games would be more of a surprise. That's how good this team is. It's pretty much, you're going to hear me parroting a lot of the things I said yesterday about Maryville today. This is a really good team in Ole Miss. OC Esports, it's unfortunate they have to face off against this team, but they would have to face off against them regardless if they want to win. So no matter what, you're facing off against this team at some point in this tournament. And Ole Miss are not looking likely to even drop a game so far, at least when on paper. Of course, anything can change. As I was saying, you got Gorilla Jones in that top lane, maybe can pull off one of those unique upsets. But I know you have a little fun graphic for us to kind of highlight a little bit of the disparity between the two teams.
So I wanted to talk about the difference, a lot of the experience that we have. Shogo here being one of the most winningest players in CLOL history. We have him with his 2 collegiate titles. And you have him winning QFest last year, first place in the South Conference, and his NECC win this year. All of these kind of just go to show a little bit more about the experience of this player and the level of play that he is constantly at. Like we were talking about earlier, when we talk about Shogo, a lot of it when you're outside of collegiate is, when can I get Shogo on a qualifiers team? When can I get him in NACL? It was kind of a hot topic for a little bit as we were kind of waiting for the subject on imports and whatnot. And Shogo, still one of the most hotly contested AD carries that has not been picked up by a team in Tier 2. So really hoping we could see that. And on the right side, it's a little bit of a meme, but OC, again, these are new players. A lot of these players do not have a ton of competitive experience in their back pocket, and really the only kind of trophy they have that is not like a regular season or whatever is going to just be Trinket over in Elite Series, the 2nd Division playoffs. He actually won in spring, if I'm correct. It was... Hey, like he got his win. He's the one that actually has probably the most competitive experience out of this entire roster. But yeah, it's kind of a pretty big difference when we take a look at all his entire achievements.
Yeah, Trinket is still a young player, but he has more of the experience for the team. But it's a good point out. It's a very new program as well for OC. It's the Oklahoma Christian University kind of this is what I think their 2nd year technically having a program, but the 1st year really running a roster. So the fact that they even are here in the top 16 is still really big for this kind of organization, and can go to show what you can do if you just start the grassroots, start at the beginning, and all these other collegiate programs in the future could do something like this for OC. Get here into the top 16, but we got to look at our predictions. Again, you keep going with these 1-0
Well, I'm getting
predictions here.
scammed. I'm actually getting scammed. Like, this is 2 days in a row. Okay, we
I
have
think it's
also
a meme at this
flagged.
point.
Yeah,
I think it's a meme
yeah,
at this point.
Okay, I did flag this with production that just my slot is apparently super dunzo. So
Yeah, I think
that's
it's a
okay.
meme
My
towards
name
you.
even got caught off. I don't need the other two games.
Alkbat.
Yep.
But yes, we got a lot of people pulling for Ole Miss on this one, and it's no surprise. Like I said, it will be an even bigger surprise if there's even a single game lost at this point. But we do have at least someone, Elliot is actually believing a little bit in that, just saying, hey, maybe we have one.
Yeah, he also was my producer or my observer for their game last week against Bethany. And that was a sloppy game. I'm glad that Observer Kai has decided that maybe a Josu can pull off an upset win.
Yeah, so we'll see how this is going to go as we get into the draft for game number 1. One of our last ones we have of the round 16. We'll see who's going to go and face off against Northwood in this draft. And I'm kind of expecting that we will maybe see some targeted bans by Ole Miss, especially being on blue side. Keep hold of a lot of other things. Okay, we didn't get to see the bans, or I'm a little.
They're happening. I think someone is probably going through the bans right now. We'll kind of get through there.
There we go.
But
there we go.
Big ones for me are going to be looking towards our bottom lane. Obviously, like we were talking about, Shogo and Rhino are two players that individually they are obviously willing to play scaling. We've seen this time and time again from either of these players on different teams and during this year, whether that be in qualifiers or that be in collegiate. And there are also people that are very willing to just play in super lane aggressive strategy. Think Kalista Ashe, anything with like a Varus combo. These two are really, really strong in the laning phase and are also good scaling team fighters. So I'm interested to see how Ole Miss or that OC tackle this issue, as most of their problems do come from a little bit of a weaker early game and their team fighting not necessarily being all there.
Yeah, Skarner going to be the last ban there from Ole Miss, as they already targeted 2 bans towards Emps. And we see a lot of the ADC bans. I don't think it's double Jinx. We'll hopefully get that fixed. But this is the pick that I was actually more interested in, is that Twisted Fate. Because Emps, that is one of their most played champions here in mid lane for OC. And Uncle Sam, we were kind of highlighting as a player that in the past has been the roamer who kind of plays around the bot lane. Having something like Twisted Fate or Galio kind of was the go-to a couple months ago for them before Uncle Sam really has grown into their own. But it still works so well. I think Twisted Fate is still in a really good position to pretty much any composition.
Okay. Twisted Fate. This was a pretty fun one. Last weekend I thought maybe we would see this Twisted Fate go. I know yesterday we were talking about Twisted Fate potentially going into mid lane. This for Stray has been a really strong pick. Funnily enough, actually talking with Stray, he's like, I don't know if the champion is that strong, but it's a lot of fun. And being able to just throw cards and being able to farm is really cool. And obviously, some part of that economy is there. Now, Sion being picked here is really interesting because we have 2 options. One where we have an assisted jungle clear trying to get Icelandic in a better position so that maybe he can transfer that lead to his bot lane. Or we're going to be seeing a lane swap where I don't know if you really want to do that when you have a Draven lane. I think that you would want to try to keep your opponents in that lane. Or are you just saying, we're going to smash your top laner so hard, we're going to take your turrets with Draven and have them accelerated? I think it's a pretty interesting gambit here that we're seeing from Ole Miss.
Yeah, and I'm glad you kind of called out that the Twist Fate could have gone top lane as well, because Trey does play it, but I am expecting that to be for Uncle Sam in this game, just with that Sion picked. Just with the Sion picked, because that's going to be for Stray. And I kind of like the idea that you were saying, that they try to go for the lane swap, even if it's a Draven lane, because you can get some of those quick adoration stacks earlier into the game, and then look to cash in after 5 minutes into the game, so you can get a really big payout. And having this really aggressive jungler in Lee Sin against Xin Chao, I think it's something that kind of plays into that mindset as well. With Jax on the other side, being able to put the Jax behind, not really let him scale up and get into that later stages of the game, I think actually will work well for Ole Miss.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool strategy that we're going to be seeing from Ole Miss. Everyone lock in. We're probably getting a lane swap. I don't think it's going to be a boring one, because any game that has Draven, by default, has to be bloody. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing some kind of like weird mid-game spike for Draven. And that's not really where we want to see them. And for Ole Miss, they are so focused on getting Shogo ahead. Any game, any series, any team that has Shogo in it, you always have to wonder, how much focus are we going to put onto this guy? And for OC, their laning phase has not been super great, especially for Ajosu and Paralysis. If you're going to try and duck that and just say, we're going to take your top tier one, we're going to get Void Grubs, we're going to move our objectives into mid lane, I need to see what OC can do on the bottom side of the map. How can they kind of empower this Aphelios? Maybe they get some plates, start the dragon stacking early.
And here we are, loaded up onto the Rift. Game number 1 between Ole Miss and OC Esports here. Oklahoma Christian University taking on quite the Titans, as everyone's already grouped up in this bot lane. They are looking for that play. They are looking to be cheesy about this one, Ulk.
Why did Shogo change his name to... He's just screaming.
Should I
Nice.
just call that out every time that he's
No, I don't
playing?
think you should. I think we should probably stick to...
I don't know. I kind of like all.
Maybe.
I
like it. Your mic cuts out. For people at home, OC, top laner is Gorilla Jones. We're probably going to be saying that a lot, and we'll probably be making references to Gorilla Jones Jax at some point. I do also like that Trinket has gone to make sure that his in-game name is Em's Cuddle Buddy.
Yep.
It's just one of the cuter names. Really good wards coming out from OC just to spot out this early invade. And it looks like they're going to use that Scion strategy where early on you're just having the Lee Sin get a really empowered early clear and making sure that he can just full clear. Now, it's up to Trinket. He knows that this is happening. He does have the ward there, and he could just say, I'm going to cross into top side, try to look for something. We know that Scion is leashing. Or does he just try to potentially save his bottom lane here from the crash that's coming? And I like this from Draven. This is a small piece of tech that you could do with Draven. If you kite out the camp,
stacks,
you get more stacks coming into the lane.
Yeah, already starting off with the 4 adoration stacks. I agree. I like that one. But you also how we saw Ajosu and Paralysis being like, yeah, we're staying very far away from this lane. We'll let you crash it. We know that they're here, so we're not giving you anything.
Oh my god, so good pathing coming out from Trinket. He's actually avoiding all of the vision here. But if this doesn't work, if Old Miss get this dive to go off, or if Trinket ends up going down, this could be catastrophic for their game state.
Well, there is Trinket on the other side. Throw out the Winter's Bite.
Whoa,
leaving out
we're
the
getting
TP.
TP as well?
Wait a minute, Gorilla Jones is here in the bot lane. Had gotten that crash in the top lane, and now with the lane swap, actually, wild.
So he goes top lane. Stray misses a pretty large portion of this wave, so it's not perfect. But getting that away from Gorilla Jones does mean that he's going to be a little bit locked into this lane, and he's not going to have that same access, whereas Stray, you're just playing Scion. It doesn't matter. So instead of going for the full-on lane swap, it looks like they are going to commit to standard laning phases. And, I mean, still, I think if you're both teams, you're not super upset with where you are in the game. You've got the TP out.
Agreed.
Icelandic Hero did get still has access to his entire third quadrant of the jungle. And for Trinket, all you did was save your bottom lane from losing the game. We take those.
Yeah, honestly, with how it was already being positioned there by Ole Miss, you take that 100% if you're OC. You deny that happening, which, if that kill goes through, the lane phase is over. It's not going to get any easier. We already see how they're already positioning Rhino to look for this play still onto Ajosu, while Paralysis eating a lot of the damage that could have been thrown at Aphelios, and trying to throw it back in the face of Shogo. But now Icelandic hanging out on the other side.
They can make this dive happen.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm worried about. They're out the dredge line, but that one missing means that they're going to call off the play.
Okay, and so they need to make a choice here, and Uncle Sam's probably going to get solo kills here.
The gold card comes out, no mana for Ems. So it looks like Uncle Sam will escape with his life this time around.
So a bunch of things happening there. Obviously, the bot lane dive not going the way of Old Miss. They weren't able to get that
Uncle Sam.
go through. He needs to help him clear this wave out. He doesn't have teleport on Twisted Fate. No gold card either here. Ems.
Yeah, that's the slow. When becomes Lightning Flash, they got on an ace to charge if they want to. Trinket was looking for it, but he's kited back. Icelandic denying that engage for Trinket.
Wow, so close there that Trinket is not able to dash on in. If he finds that onto your Uncle Sam, that's the summoner spells. Good job from Emps. I think he must have used some of his pots there to gain all that mana. I was kind of thinking, like, there's no reason he's that low. Also did get the level up during that, so...
Trinket. Wait a minute, we're about to see a solo bolo. That's a kill for sure. Icelandic getting the kill credit on that one. 1v1 in the jungle.
Here we go. Can he get bailed out? There's no mid lane here. Nautilus is on his way, but it's going to be a little bit before that's ready.
There's a TP in mid lane. They got M showing up. They already got the stun with the concussive blows, jumping away. Trying to get the slow with the graviton, but he'll survive. Rhino escorting him out.
this is one of the biggest criticisms I've had for Icelandic in the last 6 months is, hey, we've seen Marty step up his individual play. We already knew that Stray, Shogo, and Rhino were going to be really good members when we talk about them just going from start to finish in a game. But Icelandic, unfortunately, has been the one that has been a lot of very, very aggressive for this team, going for bot dives, invading into enemy jungle. This time around, he doesn't get punished, and it just means that he's accentuating that lead so much more, has so much more golden experience compared to Trinket, and still has access to these topside camps, which he still hasn't taken.
And could he even go for the gank on to Gorilla Jones in this top lane?
Yes.
Straight playing side, just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
No.
Just push all you want over and over again, but he's in the bot lane instead. Trinket trying to help clear out the wave so they can get a push and maybe rotate for the Dragon. But if we look mid lane, Uncle Sam's actually getting good pressure on Emps. It is a level 6 advantage for the Azir. Gold card thrown out, getting the stun with the wild cards, and Icelandic hanging out nearby. Uncle Sam is getting very close to that level 6.
Ooh, need to be careful. If he gets that level 6, he could go top lane. Flash coming in
Wait
from
a minute,
Gorilla Jones.
Does smashing this top lane.
Well, that's not good for the top plays. And we got the flash out from mid lane here as Azir gets threatened under his mid tier 1. Really fantastic job. And the entire time, Trinket is on vision recalling in that bottom rush. So they know exactly where he is. Unfortunately, Ole Miss, they have such great vision control. All of their vision has been really well placed. It's spotted out where Trinket was on most of his camps. And they just have, even in the counter, you would have thought, okay, we knew that Icelandic was bottom lane. He doesn't get the bot lane dive. Maybe Trinket could move into enemy jungle. Top lane had just recalled. We already had winning matchups into mid. But they just never go for it. They're so focused on protecting this bottom lane that Trinket is just becoming like a ward bot at this point. He's so far behind.
The thing is, too, what do you do if you are Trinket? You don't focus on the bot lane. Icelandic only has to show up once. One successful gank is enough to end this game completely. So you have to pay that tax. You have to focus on the bot lane. But then, like you said, what's happening on the rest of the map? Top lane's falling apart. Mid lane is struggling, even though we have seen that Emps has been close to killing Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam has been really good, as you talked about it, how he's leveled up throughout this whole year. And I've been so impressed by this player. As someone I watched in the first OQs, where I wasn't actually that impressed at that time. But slowly but surely, over the next coming months, this player has grown more and more each time to this point where I look at him and being like, this guy is not just playing around bot lane. He has his own identity on what he can do to succeed, and now it's going to be tested as they did have Gorilla Jones in the mid lane, but it will have to back off because they already have Icelandic in the back pocket.
The biggest criticism for Ole Miss, even before Shogo actually joined this team during last year, was that your Uncle Sam was the biggest feast or famine player, and most of the time, he would actually lose out on the coin flip more often than not. He would always try to go for these skill diff matchups, always trying to outplay his opponent, and so far this year, he has definitely taken a step back. He's still outplaying his opponents, but he's definitely playing the map and playing the lane a lot better. Something that he is credited to getting individual coaching, both him and Icelandic actually both crediting not only the work of Colomer and being able to help with the team, but a lot of individual coaching that both of them have sought out personally to make sure that they can pay back Ole Miss and saying, look, I may have not been able to step up last year, but we don't want to get knocked out. We want to be able to contend for a championship. Let's put in the time to make ourselves better and look for that.
I'm always impressed when players do that, right? Scary Jerry is someone we talked about with that yesterday on that player that's grown up, and we've seen that a lot from Uncle Sam, and we're seeing that a little bit in this game. The fact that there's twice now in this game that I think 3 months ago, he would have died in for sure.
Oh, he'd probably be O2 right now.
Yeah, he'd probably be O2. I mean, he has been doing a great job of kind of kiting it back, having Icelandic, and I've been impressed by Icelandic in this game. Even if he's played a little aggressive, you can tell that Ole Miss are really starting to fire on all cylinders together. Everyone's working together, getting Rhino nearby where he can escape, then rotating towards this Dragon. Even if they did have Rhino spotted out on that vision, look at how Ajosu and Paralysis have to play. Lee, Sin, Draven, they can't step up into that river.
Nope. It's just not fun. It also just comes with the fact of having a pushing bottom lane. It's really hard. You're playing so much to protect. We talked about this a little bit through the jungle perspective, where what does Trinket do if he can't really access his camps because he has to protect bottom lane so much? And he is winning in that instance, but aside from that, I mean, like, he protected his bottom lane from dying, but they're still down almost 50. They're down a couple plays as well, and they got the Dragon. So it's like, okay, well, you guys didn't lose, but I'm not winning. And I
Right.
think a lot of that is compounded also by the fact that we did see that solo kill in top lane. That's not what you want to see on the Jax. He's still going to be a menace. It's only a single death, but it's that feeling, that impending doom that eventually Shogo is going to cash out on these Draven stacks, and it's going to be on a kill. And probably knowing Riot Games, it's also going to be a shutdown for some reason, because that's just how shutdowns work nowadays.
Yep.
We're going to see this dive, Twisted Fate ult.
Oh, got the Destiny Gate open. They're underneath the turret with the death charge onto Josu, and that's easy. Whirling Death cash in. They've got a double kill for Shogo.
Yeah, play safe bottom lane, guys. There's just 4 people under your turret at 10.5 minutes. Not much they could have done there from the side of OC. There's no bid prio in this instance. We now see that Trinket is going for the invade, but it just doesn't matter. Also, one of the cool things by placing your mid lane, your TF in mid lane, instead of being top lane. Oh, he lands this.
Smash,
oh, God.
Yeah. Charge kills him again.
All right, well, magical. So the lane that we were expecting to maybe do a little bit of work is just not there. And we knew the bot lane was going to lose. So OC are in a huge pickle right now.
And especially because the one play they could have gone for was to try to deny the Void Grub. The kick from Icelandic. Gold card on Azir. Even with the Crescent card, they're inside the whirl, and they've got the kill for Icelandic. They can peel back and claim the bounty of these grubs.
One of the fun things about Old Miss is that when they're feeling themselves, they're just going to make plays happen. They're always going to try to go for the high key plays. Uncle Sam is going to go for some kind of TikTok dance on you, whether it be in the game or post. And right there, we're just seeing Old Miss's dominance here as OC kind of feel like they're in a bit of a tizzy. They're dizzy right now. They're like, okay, there's so much happening right now. We're getting fought on top side. Our top laner is getting solo killed. We're diving bottom lane. They're contesting us for grubs. And it's suffocating to feel when you're playing against a team that is just constantly all over the map on top.
Look at the gold diff, right?
Yep.
You already have the almost double the gold for Shogo in this bot lane. Plays that double kill with cash in for the adoration. 6 grubs. They are feasting well tonight in Ole Miss.
And again, look at the vision. They know exactly where Trinket is. He's right behind this bottom lane. They're going to try and force for this, but Paralysis, I'm pretty sure Warlike Death just straight up kills you with that XP. They're teleporting behind.
Throw it. I think you got the Shogo. 2v4. Wind becomes lightning, but didn't get the Wondrous Bite. Emps does not have the Emperor's Divine, and he can't do enough, but they have cashed in. They've already got the kill. It's a shutdown for Josu to levy and make it even. With Rhino escaping, will be the 1-for-1 with Light Vigil. Not enough damage early on by Josu.
Okay. They invested so much into that play to make it work. They do get the shutdown, and it does go over to a Josu. It's right before the turret plates are going to fall, so maybe he's able to get one. But, I mean, the wave is just not in a great place. Rhino is still here, and the Ignite is coming up. I could see a world where he just flash ignites and tries to find the kill onto him.
I can
so
see
Josu's
that
going
too.
to show some respect.
I think also a big problem with the getting the shutdown is nice for Josu, but Shogo got the cash in. He was able to cash out on extra adoration stacks, even more gold. Rhino, oh my god, is he? I was thinking for a second. I like this one, Maps. Nice flash. Even with the gold card, they got the stun. They've locked him down forever. A little bit of damage takes a while, but finally Gorilla Jones getting the kill credit with Icelandic, getting the kick onto Paralysis, but has to bail out of that one. OC get themselves on the board a second time.
Good job, making sure that they're including their support in these plays, getting Gorilla Jones to roam on down. Not a perfect situation. I think obviously if you're OC, you would want your Jax to be able to hold his own by himself. Oh, it doesn't actually land the stun. I don't think this is going to be another solo kill, but that turret is going to continue to get hammered. Remember, with Twisted Fate, without having any summoner spells, or really without the flash, it is very easy for Twisted Fate to be able to find that kill.
Also, the fact that Stray is that beefy already, Gorilla Jones doesn't have an item completed yet, and we go into the bot lane, I think there's a possibility Stray can dive him right here, flash away, realizing the danger that Gorilla Jones was actually in, and he's not done. Zion is chasing, hunting this down.
He just
auto attack
him,
the turret. He's just like, what turret? Doesn't mean anything to me. While we go into the bot lane, Destiny Gate has been open, looking for the stun with the Crescent Guard. Does not help out because Icelandic is on a killing spree.
They are just taking all of his jungle camps bottom lane. Trinket, you're basically just going to be a ward bot. It was designated to you.
No way. Oh my goodness.
Rhino just being an absolute menace right now. There's not much for them to actually do. The dragon spawning as well. They're going to take these jungle camps, get this wave in under the turret. and they're going to look to continue compounding this gold lead. Almost 10,000 gold at 15 minutes.
Wow.
An incredibly dominant showing here in our first game for Old Miss.
But they don't. It's like what happened in Game 2 yesterday. They don't want to let you talk. That's a TP from Gorilla Jones into the bot lane. TP from Stray into the bot lane as well. Damage onto Paralysis, but not getting the stand aside. Missing the Glacial Fissure. Split up fight. They've got M split away with Gorilla Jones trying to dive into the back line, but it's a rampage for Icelandic. Should be able to get a double kill as Gorilla Jones going the wrong way, and he is made into meat there with the Josu following suit.
Ooh, man. You know, I think it's only right. I had both Colomer and a Josu on my co-stream last week when we were doing their Bethany game right after we got a winner's interview with the Josu, and I was trying to get some smack talk. I was trying to see if maybe they would, have some sparring words. Josu's a pretty nice guy, so he kind of kept it pretty tame. But Colomer did say, look, if you guys do play standard, if your top laner maybe has some better laning phases and is able to actually plug in his monitor, maybe you guys have a chance next week. It would be more interesting that way. And so far, we're just seeing Ole Miss fire on all cylinders. Like, they're winning their bot lane matchup, which they did set up very heavily for. Your Uncle Sam is facilitating for his jungler as well as his bottom lane. And in an unknown circumstance, I don't think anybody could have seen this coming. Sion is winning the 1v1 versus Jax. We live in a world. We live in a society.
I think it all boils down to that one play. Gorilla Jones got himself too low. Tried to flash in with the Counter-Strike, and Stray's like, oh, okay, cool. I'll just take the kill. Thank you very much to get out of this one. And now that top lane's dead. Jungle, look at the difference there between Icelandic and Trinket. Mid lane, the only one that kind of looks even, but still it's Uncle Sam well ahead.
He's playing Twisted Fate, man.
Exactly, he's playing Twisted Fate, and this is kind of what has been the game plan of Uncle Sam in the past. Really playing around the other lanes, moving around the map, and then Draven. Draven.
Yes.
2.5 items already. It is only 16.5 minutes into the game. He has a gold bounty again. They already got the shutdown once onto him. How many times have they got to teach this lesson to him, old man? But it doesn't feel like he's ever going to learn because Shogo is just too fed.
Yeah, he doesn't have to learn. All of the bad behaviors are being rewarded for Shogo. Not that he's making too many of them. Oh, Gorilla Jones. Okay,
I was about to say, maybe. Draven trying to get away, running pretty fast. Glacial Fissure going wide, but the Winter's Bite connected. They're split in this fight, and they're looking for Shogo. Diving pretty deep down, getting a shutdown for Ems. But now, how do you get out of this? They've got a double kill. That's going to work out for them. With Sion showing up on the other side. Trey doesn't have the team, but they got low health bars, getting a little bit of damage. Uncle Sam tagged by the Winter's Bite. Look at Trinket on the other side as well to flash away, but it's going to be followed up with a Leaf Strike into the Counter Strike with a kill and shutdown for Josu. Flashes over the wall to get rid of Zombie Sion so they don't lose anymore.
Maybe a counter curse did there. That the caster curse came true. The bad behaviors of Shoko didn't have flash available, wasn't able to play out in that situation. And once once Icelandic and Shoko go down, that's all your damage. I mean, you have a Twisted Fate who is slowly getting through his Rod of Ages, and he's going to have that RFC, so won't have the raw AP burst that we would see from more AP on this champ. But yeah, those are shutdowns going on to really critical members of OC, and again, that's just Ole Miss feeling themselves, saying we can take every fight. Every fight is a good fight.
And the bigger thing for me is each one of those kills in that fight were each of the members that had shutdown bounties on them. Stray, Icelandic, and Shogo all had that extra gold for getting those kills. So that really does help out OC to a degree. I say to the degree because if you still look at the gold difference, it is still almost 10,000, 9,000. Separating the two teams, which means that even though you had a nice fight, how does it happen afterwards? Especially when Trinket gets caught out like this, and they can cash in right away for Shogo.
More Shogo stacks. Probably didn't have too many, considering he had just died, but still, gotta feel good. Now summoning the Rift Tail, you have Dragon spawning in a minute and a half, and I just don't know if this Dragon is really going to be super meaningful. Like, yeah, Ole Miss probably going to use this pressure to fall down back into mid. KP, I was gonna say if he okay. Well, nice driving, KP. They can use this, push through mid, and then reset, get their vision ready to start up for this Dragon. But the more important objective for me is going to be the Baron. Not only are OC going to probably be pulled into this objective just by way of having to show up for this fight or just straight up losing the game, but then if they do get the Baron, Ole Miss doesn't even have to play for it. They can just turn off of it and immediately try to look for an engage onto someone with a gold card, with Icelandic on this Lee Sin. So kind of a do-or-die situation, and one where a couch 22 for OC. Damned if you, damned if you don't.
And I'm just the thing is, I like these moments from OC, and it has been nice to see them at least have some life. I was a little worried that this game was just going to be an absolute stomp for a bit by Ole Miss, and it was looking like that for a bit. I think OC did a good job in punishing some of the mistakes there from Ole Miss, but that's the whole thing. There were mistakes from Ole Miss. I think OC, sadly, in this game, still are just so far behind. They need like 5 more of those team fights if they even want to come even into the gold.
Yeah, they probably need Ole Miss to just keep running it down.
Yeah.
I like that Trinket is actually going for this invade. It shows a little bit of a forethought, but there's a Twisted Fate ultimate.
The gold card as well. Decimating Smash right on top of him, locking him down on CC forever. But Paralysis might be able to save the day. No. Rhino saying, get away from here. We're getting this kill. He jumps away with the audacious charge for Icelandic to kill his Nordic brother. We were going to the top lane where our fight is still commencing because of Josu was trying to save Paralysis, which means they're going one after another. Double kill for Icelandic.
For sure, Draven's like, Shogo's like, give me the kill. But it's going to turn into the Baron. Trinket, unfortunately being caught there, opens up the play for Ole Miss. During this time, OC are trying to shove on the opposite sides of the lanes. We do see that Azir is in mid lane, took the mid-tier 1, is now moving towards his bottom lane. Got a little bit close there, but remember, they did nerf Inferno ult like years ago.
Yeah.
So, able to grab that and actually pull them off of the dragon as well. Literally, they got nothing out of that for OC.
Absolutely nothing. And they are now running back to their base where more cash-ins will be gifted over to Ole Miss. Their 3rd dragon of the game. We got... Ems canceled on that recall. No, it was a TP. He was trying to just TP away, which means now he's caught out. Goes for a little bit of a skirmish, realizing that it's going to be battle. That's the only way to get out of this one.
No way.
Emperor survived, but Decimating Smash, and they've got the range for the auto attacks to pick up the kill for Uncle Sam.
Okay, well... We'll see.
I have bad news on this one here, Dimitri.
Yeah,
Even with this fight happening, I don't think it's going to matter too much.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, nice kick from Icelandic. Finds a Josu.
A Josu still alive, though. Barely will he escape, but really, he's still taken off the map. That's the bigger thing. All Ole Miss have to do are wait for the minions so they can collect the gold from this turret.
Okay. I mean, this is just like them putting the finishing touches on this game, right? Like they're 14,000 gold up. It's 21 minutes. They've got 6 scrubs, the Baron buff. They even got the dragon. So if they don't end in 4 minutes, they've got a soul ready and waiting for them at this point. Ole Miss being very dominant, showing why they're considered one of the top 4 top contenders to win the entire tournament. And it's, again, through individual stellar play. I think, yes, they got some setups on the bot dives, but KJ has had a really, really strong hand in shaping this game.
I agree. He's looked really good. Pretty much most of the members have been looking really hot outside of a couple mistakes here and there from them playing a little overly aggressive. And now they're toppling everything in the base. Only the bot lane will stand for OC.
All right. We're kind of in a holding pattern while we wait for Ole Miss to take their recalls, get into position. Not much we can... I mean, they can push out their waves. They still have a Baron buff for a little bit. It's not going to be too much.
Nah, I don't think they're going to get anything else additional on this. Outside of just controlling the map and seeing if OC try to venture out of their territory and then punish them from there. Because you already got 4 items. Wow. 4 items on Shoko at 23 minutes.
Yeah. There's not much for me to say, man. This game's kind of toast. No. Like, this game's a bit toast.
Yeah, that's why, like, I knew he'd be ahead. Man, 4 items, 23 minutes into the game.
That's just Draven for you. I mean, he's also almost an entire 100 up. He's almost flame horizing his opponent, which is not that much of an indictment against a Josu. Just this team tends to funnel Shogo a lot of resources, and individually he is there to be able to make the plays happen. So we'll see. They're just slowly whittling away at this bot tier 1. You need to be careful about Jack Splash.
I like his flash. I like that with the Empress Divide getting Shogo bouncing around for a shutdown. This could be the hope for OC. They have gotten the bot lane. They've got the jungler with a flash away. They got a stun on Uncle Sam with a blast gun, getting him in a bad spot. Still could be the chase down. Gold card getting the stun on Uncle Sam. Going to be too fast, but huge play from OC.
Beautiful stuff coming out from Gorilla Jones in the top lane. Finds the flash stun. I literally was just mentioning whether or not that was going to be a really impactful piece of tech for them. And Oklahoma Christian, they fight back. They get a bunch of kills. And more importantly, they at least stop the siege for now. Ton of Baron buffs have fallen off. 2 minutes before the Drake. It will be the sole point. And you still have to feel Ole Miss are in a very strong position despite that going off. Yes, they make some mistakes. Yes, their setups are not perfect. But they still have 12,000 gold. Like you're saying, it's going to take a lot of those in a row for this to go in their favor.
And I'm glad you prefaced that in a row. They can't just have one and then lose the next play. Have one, lose the next play. It has to be boom, 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 constantly winning these fights if they want to get back into this game. Not even talking about winning this game. That's just how far ahead we have Ole Miss at this point. So I like seeing these plays from Oklahoma Christian. Looking pretty good in how they can punish, but unfortunately, they've been just so far in the hole, it hasn't really mattered, as now Icelandic getting stunned by the counter-strike, but realizing they were split up in that fight. OC make the proper call. All split from the fight as we go into the bot lane. That's going to be that first divide onto Stray. I don't know if I like that one. Saving it for Shogo might have been needed because they didn't get enough damage on Stray. Now they can re-engage, and they got a nice stand aside with the damage on Gorilla Jones. Stray has been eating up all that damage. Finally, they topple him, but Gorilla Jones couldn't get onto Shogo. Whirling death, cash in, baby. Cha-ching, diving this turret. It is out of here. Ole Miss finally cracking this bot lane. They've been working on for so long, even though Josu does have a lot of stacks up there, but he missed the Moonlight Vigil, as now with Paralysis dead, every inhibitor gone, Ole Miss should be taking this game. Nexus turrets are the last thing standing in their way from getting us into game 2. A little bit of damage on to Uncle Sam as well. A bit of wave clear is helping out OC, but I don't know if that's going to stop Ole Miss from actually winning. Pull back in with the dredge line. That's going to be a stand aside, getting the knockback, and the kill again for Shogo. Cash in, doubled up. Josu flashed on, and look at that damage. Triple kill from Shogo as we end this game with a 1-0 lead for Ole Miss.
22-10, 15,000 gold. Probably the most emblematic Ole Miss game we could have gotten. Smashing through bottom lane, KJ playing aggressive. We had some Ole Miss moments there. Happens. Yeah. What an incredibly dominant game. One of the most dominant games we have gotten for collegiate, at least in the championship so far.
Yeah, I mean, only Maryville, I think, are in that same conversation for how dominant they were against the competition. And taking that lead already, Ole Miss, it is kind of the expected result. This is a very strong team, and that's what we really have to preface this. Not like OC didn't look good in that game, though. They had moments, and I'm really impressed by some of the capitalizations on mistakes from Ole Miss. They were able to get some gold back, but like you said, it's just from lane phase. They were so far behind right out of the gates, Alk Battery.
Yeah, they had obviously issues in the laning phase that were there. And again, I think that their scope for finding team fights is not that precise. We saw in that last play even, we saw that we're using Emp's ultimate for Azir onto Sion. There's a Twisted Fate that's coming in. I just don't think these are the targets. There's a dragon spawning in a minute. Maybe that's that part of desperation saying, okay, the game's going to end if we don't do something. We need to go for it. But again, damned if you don't, damned if you do. There's not much for OC, I think, in that situation to go for, and we'll have to see what the response is going to be in game 2.
Yeah, and we're going to toss to a break so we can get ready for that second game, so don't go anywhere.